All right, so with our handsome Mr. Leon, we're gonna do a little bit with some play. So I know we had discussed a little bit with those puppy push-ups in the previous video, working a bit with some loose leash walking and some of our find its. He's like, where'd it go? But also we were working a little bit with orientation back to the handler. So, and I remember you guys had mentioned that mouthiness was a little bit of a troublesome topic. So remember that for puppies. Not always having a dog-centric outlet can sometimes make natural dog behavior seem problematic. So for a lot of dogs, since they do play with their bodies and their mouths and they chase and bite and mouth things, especially with each other, I know he does have a sibling, which is nice that he's got a buddy to play with. But at times, when your puppies are not always sure what to do around us, it can be helpful to give direction and figure out what to do instead. So we tend to always think of behavior as right or wrong. And the problem with that is, your puppy is amoral. He's just doing whatever might make him feel safe or give him an outlet or something to do. So for a lot of puppies, it can be really reinforcing to go and mouth something because it might give them some attention that maybe they didn't have prior. So we want to make sure, I'm not saying to ignore behaviors that are problematic that could grow and become more uncomfortable for you or more problematic for him, even if at times they might be natural. So if we don't love a certain, and my neighbors are moving some stuff around, so sometimes there's some funny noises, but you're doing a good job, sir. But if there's times where you're not loving what he's doing, always think, instead of being wrong and being scolded for something, think, what would you prefer? So instead of, again, getting agitated, which I know we're all people, it's very normal, think, if I don't love what my puppy's doing, what could I replace that original thing with a different outlet or a different behavior or skill set? Nice job, sir. So I want to work a little bit. I know you had mentioned that he doesn't really do much for play in a sense of toys. So I'm going to try a few toys that are kind of like a critter at one end with a rope and a handle. I find for a lot of dogs that don't do play with toys that are inanimate and just kind of sit on the ground, for some puppies, that's not really that much fun. So it's almost like a little human child that wants to play with you versus self-play. So you may find for some puppies, he might prefer to play with you versus, and it depends on the toy. So sometimes it could be the toy that we were using was maybe a toy he didn't find really motivational. So I'm going to try one of my toys. I'm going to have a second toy as backup in one of my pockets, because I do like to play with two toys at a time or multiples, because it allows you, you ready? Go get it. It allows you to have the chance to rotate through two different items, as opposed to just trying, don't mind my little bulge, it's my second toy. So this way it can allow your puppy to play with one, and then once that toy has come alive and has become a bit more motivational, then we can use a second toy to either get him to practice relinquishing the original and working the letting go of one toy to another. So I know we've discussed, I know you guys have taken classes in the past with your other little lady. So working like the toy exchange game, working the treat and retreat game is going to be really crucial. There's several videos of me working with some other puppies in the day school program too. I know Miss M did also participate at one point when she was really little. Now she's a big girl. So right here, we're getting a lot of really nice puppy play where he's bopping it and sort of chewing and grabbing for it and chasing. So already, of course, we got some funny noises, but he's doing a really nice job. And now he's like, now I'm going to hang with it. So one way to get your puppy to practice relinquishing or letting go of something is, remember that a lot of times when your puppies have things they shouldn't, we tend to constantly squeal like drop it or no, and then we just take it from them. That tends to be a really great way to create a gulper or even a resource guarder. So having some Great Pyrenees in him, they have a really good guarding tendency, which can transfer to like resource guarding in the sense of items or spaces or things. So we want to make sure that we're being, nice job, really proactive in helping him. If, let's say, something seems hard for him, we don't want to scold him if he's struggling, but instead show him what to do instead or help him through the situation. And that's where the treat and retreat and the toy exchange game comes into play. That was a good burp. So let's say he's not as interested in this bad boy. He is also very food driven, which is fine. We might try this little friend. What do you think? You want to smell him? Oh, he smells very intriguing. So this is where you could go from one toy to another. If you find you don't have much for toy drive, start small and don't make it too hard. Let him catch the critter, let him win the toy. All those fun things that help build comfort and confidence are really great for your puppy. And then too, the nice thing about this is now you're part of the play. So you get to play and bond together versus him trying to do solo play. So, and he may really love his wrestles with his sister, which is fine. But you may find toys are not as cool as like playing with a real dog playmate. So you're going to have to just gauge and see what motivates him depending on, the venue and what's out there for distractions. Nice job. So right now I'm just trying to get him to grab and play. He doesn't necessarily want to grab it too hard and hold on. So that's perfectly fine. Oh, we got the funny sounds. Which one do you like better? The orange one now? Nice. So also the nice thing is, let's say there are some sounds or distractions in the distance. He now is instead more interested in maybe doing a little bit of tugging and playing with the toy than he is getting overwhelmed by the neighbor noises, which is a great way to build some resilience with weirdness and novelty in your spaces. Good job. Smart man. I love it though when his ears get stuck on his forehead. That was really nice. So, and you can, if he's a foodie, but then you lose him to play, like let's say he stops playing because the food is more intriguing, I would just recommend to sometimes play a little shorter, rotate through a few different toys, and then use your food at times for the letting go. So that way you're building up that, taking that pause has a lot of really great value. I want to see if he may potentially go for some toys on the floor. I'm just going to grab just a couple, and he's just going to probably follow me in just a moment. I'm sorry I'm out of camera range again. Maybe he'll go for some of these, maybe he won't, so no worries. Just going to grab a few. I know, sorry. I should always prep prior, but sometimes I don't always know what I'm going to rock every time I start blabbing. You ready? So here's a few interesting novel toys. We're just plopping them out. If he's interested, he can go for one of them. If he thinks they're kind of weird, maybe not so interesting. Of course, the old flirt pole attachment is very intriguing. It smells very nice and stinky. So the benefit of allowing your puppy to play with toys he's supposed to play, and this is again going to be the toy exchange game once more, just since he's slightly intrigued, but notice how the noises are a little bit spooky for him. So right here, yes, I might do like the little kissy noise, get him to do, he's like, how about a sit? Oh, that's very smart. I might get him to do a little check-in mid-play and see if he can bounce back from the toy back to me. You could also mid-play, just go ahead and toss a few snacks and get him to take a pause to go forage within the environment. Nice job. Because we're trying to build up that even when he's playing with things he's allowed to have, that letting go doesn't have to equal the end of the game or something negative or confrontational. Nice job, Sarah. He says, let's just do loose leash walking instead. So smart. Such a smart boy. But if again, he's sometimes grabbing for inappropriate items, I would for now try to puppy proof the environment as best you can. I know you guys have children, so sometimes little ones can leave things out and about. But if your puppy does go to grab for something, as opposed to squealing and rushing over and pulling it from them, try to instead, while they're playing with the toys they're supposed to have, work on getting them to practice disengaging and checking in, or disengaging and doing a find it. So that way you could have, oh no, my puppy grabbed, like, let's say for example, that could have been a sock, as opposed to me rushing and stealing it from him. Excuse me, I should not be drinking seltzer. I would then go and do a find it instead to get him to let go. I'm just breaking up the snacks, and he says he likes watching because it looks delicious. Such a smart boy. Here you go. So, but I know he's not really as keen on some of the toys right now. It could be that, again, we're having a lot of some nice background sounds, but it could also be that it's his first day, and for his first day, he's maybe not as fluid. Some of the other babes, again, have been coming here for rounds, one after the other for months at a time. So for him, this is day number 1 out of the 4 weeks, so he's really doing stellar. So we might as well just work a little bit with some loose leash walking because he's maybe all tired already from all the toys and the WrestleMania earlier. But he was running around this whole room like a race car, so he's probably going to be rather tired. Sit. Good job. What a smart boy. So maybe what we'll do is we'll do a few moments with some recall practice too, just to throw in some change. You'll see that a lot of times I don't stick to one skill for too long unless the puppy's showing signs they're really into it or are feeling comfortable. Otherwise, if I rush and I work skills way too long, it makes it turn into more of a boot camp situation than a fun practice moment. So even if I'm blabbing here, I'm going to be feeding Mr. L for any time he comes into my space from the environment after doing a find it. So I'm going to send him away with a find it. Leon, come. Yes, good job. And sometimes I even like to do a little jackpot. So again, one is not really much of a jackpot. So remember, I do like 2 to let's say 5 or 6 little morsels for doing that really nice checking back in from the environment or a recall. Ready? So we'll do another little find it. And again, the find its are just great to create distance. So again, right here, Leon, come. Yes, nice job. So I'm going to send him further away. Ready? Find it. He's getting better with these. Leon, come. Yes, what a brilliant boy. So then I might send him away with another little tidbit. Ready? Find it. Leon, come. Yes. 2 guys, let me know. Obviously now as I'm spewing the recall word, come, you may have a different one. Like I know for Mr. B, he does the word here. So if I'm mixing up your slogans, just let me know because everybody does different verbal and sometimes hand signals. So that way I can make sure I'm keeping it ready consistent. So beautiful little sitting. Nice job, sir. He's like, where'd it go? We'll do another little find it. Leon, come. Yes, good job. What a smart boy. So if, again, he's doing really well, we'll maybe try a little bit with one more little find it, and then I'll try to set him up sort of in the middle so we can see him a little bit better. I'll move some of our fun toys out of the way. Here we go. We'll move Mr. Raccoon. He's normally pretty popular. So we'll get a little sit, and then yes to feed. So if your sittings, are getting really, really fluid, you may start to, for example, ask with the verbal and visual cue and then feed right after versus luring him. So we'll maybe try one more little down. Yes. So that one, again, empty hand, and I lured him with just the visual and the verbal cue, but there was no food in my hand. So I have the food in my opposite. I'm going to ask again for the down. Yes, and then feed right there. Smart boy. What a good job you're doing. He says, I'm getting exhausted. You're going to get cozy? He can't decide how to sit quite yet. Good job. So with Mr. L, he's really doing a very nice job for day number 1. So I would just recommend, definitely take a peek-see over the resources that had been sent along for prior programs. If you're having trouble finding them, let me know, and I can resend you all the goodies that you would have gotten from like a PK class or something similar. And even for like some of the reactive dog classes you had taken prior, I do tend to send along a little bit of everything there too. So you might still have some of those great documents or Word documents as well that have the links to other videos for reference. Yes. But then definitely keep me updated. So as you're practicing some of these skills, if there's moments where you feel it's not, catching the right way, or you're a little bit confused, or he's a little bit unsure, you can also film your sessions. I'm not saying they have to be pristine or gorgeous, but it's more because then you might notice like mannerisms that we're doing where we might miss something with the puppy, and then that's what's leading to some confusion. Ready, sit. And then that way your training is much more fluid for him and for you. But maybe we'll do a little find it. We'll give him a little breather, but Mr. L is doing a really nice job for day number 1. So brilliant boy.